新年快乐 and welcome back to some Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and let's see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where if you don't know, today is the Lunar New Year, which means it's now officially, I suppose, the year of a snake, leaving the year of a dragon, I think, behind. I should probably know them. For some reason, I know it goes year of a snake then year of a horse, but I don't remember what's before year of a snake. I'm pretty sure it's dragon, right? Does that make sense? Hold on. Chinese zodiac. I'm not gonna we've done this like 5 times now, I think, with Chinese, or 4 times now, the Chinese zodiac. I'm not gonna go on the entire sort of thing again about what the story of a great race is, although I do love the story of a great race. Hello everyone, today's the start of the Lunar New Year. I wish you all, I don't know why I skipped ahead, good fortune and happiness. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 8:33 PM on Wednesday, January 29th, 2025. So yeah, I mean, it's year of a snake. It's, it's been 12 years since the last one, and the good old Chinese zodiac, very predictable with its 12-year cycle. As I said, I'm not going to retell the entire story. Once again, about the great race across China, how the Chinese zodiac got determined. You can look up one of the previous episodes. I'm sure I spoke about it in one of them. I probably titled one of them like the Great Race or something. I don't remember. You might also ask, hey there darling, what does the snake zodiac represent? And my answer is, I've got no idea, to be honest. I mean, like astrology, it's not really something I believe in. I like this for the sake of categorization, because I think it's fun, that the human needs to sort of categorize things, I think is, fine in most regards, and this one is fine as well. It's just basically what year kind of you were born in. Yeah, according to the lunar calendar, not to the Gregorian calendar, I suppose, but not really something that you can determine personality from, at least not from the factors based off the year alone. You'd probably have to, or the 12-year cycle of a year it's a part of, you'd probably have to factor in quite a few other things, such as the situation going on, the environment you were raised in, etc, etc. What are you wearing, Amelia? But that, along with astrology, the Western sort of star signs astrology, Aries, Taurus, etc, etc, which, now I think about it, I don't even know where that originates from. I actually genuinely never thought about that. Not really something I put much faith in. And you might be like, oh, does that mean you don't believe in Myers-Briggs and that sort of thing? And the answer is yes, kind of. I think Myers-Briggs is also a fun thing, but I also think it's gross. I think the best way to put Myers-Briggs is grossly misrepresentative, right? Because there's no way everyone in the world can be categorized into 16 well, okay, no, that's not true, now I think about it. I guess everyone in the world could be categorized into 16 categories, but because then you could just arbitrarily split up the days of a year into 16 groups and you'll be okay. So that's not what I mean, but you can't be, personalities I suppose can't be contained within 16 personality types. I will at least give credit to Myers-Briggs that at least it has a vague, I don't know scientifically true, it probably has some sort of vague correlation with your personality type, right? If you are someone who's shy and quiet, you probably might get one of the I-based ones or whatever, but I think probably the better point to make is you should not read much conclusion or any conclusions from it. It's just harmless fun. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that's harmless, because I'm sure there are cases where it could be made harmful, but I think that's also, exaggerations, kind of saying paper's relatively harmless, and then you go and be well, if you got 1 million paper cuts, okay, well, yes, technically, but that's, that's not what I was meant. Anyway, so I don't really put much stock into the Chinese zodiac, or the Eastern animal zodiac. I'm not sure what the official term for it would be called, to be honest. So I don't really know what a snake represents. I don't really know what any of the animals represent. You might be like, are you a snake? And the answer is no, I'm actually an ox, according to a Chinese zodiac. But I will say, shout out to snakes for being probably one of the more unique animals on there. One of the 2 reptilian representatives, right? That they really don't have the greatest track record. Now I think about it, the Chinese zodiac, we're representing a lot of diverse animal types. Let's think about it. Rat is a mammal. Ox, mammal. Tiger, mammal. Rabbit, mammal. Dragon, fictional creature, but you know, presumably like reptile or reptile adjacent. Snake, reptile, horse, mammal, sheep, mammal, monkey, mammal, rooster, or avian, I guess. Yeah, but I was gonna be like, are birds separate from mammals? And I was like, yes, birds must be separate from mammals. They don't. Birds lay eggs. That's like quite a big part of it. Dog, mammal. Pig, mammal. You know, it's a vast overrepresentation of mammals. When really, why don't we have a more? If anything, you would have thought it'd be like it should be a more proportional representation of the creatures, or a variety of creatures we have in the animal tree. You know, rather than being 10 mammals, 2 reptiles. Like, what about an amphibian in there? Like, throw a frog. What about like a fish? I don't know what the family class of fish are called, to be honest, in the tree, but throw one of those in there. We've got one bird, and it's a rooster. It's not even like one of the birds which are known for flying in the sky. Oh, sorry, yeah, so I guess 9 mammals, one avian, and 2 reptiles. It's just like, you know, why are the insects? Why are there no insects? Why is there not like a year of a spider or something? And you might be like, oh, people are scared of spiders. Yeah, but I mean, people are scared of snakes. You should probably be scared of a tiger if you see one in real life. Probably just should be scared of a dragon, because you'll be like, whoa, you actually exist? Maybe awe-inspired might be a better word for one. I'm just saying, you know, there's a bias towards animals which are mammalian, which is, you know, fair as well, because they're also the ones we interact with. Well, okay, maybe not interact with most, but probably have a stronger sway in our culture, because it's like, oh yeah, you look a rabbit and it's easier to, I suppose, impose cultural ideas upon it, rather than seeing the presence of an ant, because you don't really see the ant all that often. I think sometimes you do if you just like watch a colony of ants, but it's misrepresentative, you know. There should be like a new version of a zodiac. Someone should make like an updated one where it's like these 12 animals wanted to retire, so 12 new animals will come into the place to try and like usurp them. Obviously the cat's got to be on there. Like, the cat got shafted in the first one, so the cat's like back for revenge, finally gets its rightful place however many years after the Chinese zodiac system was established. You got to get spiders in there. There's so many spiders in the world. Like, you know, they're like an underdog competitor. People aren't rooting for them, but they still make it in the end. Got to get like a fish in there, dolphin. That dolphin could be the dog equivalent, you know, the one who's just like having a laugh, essentially. How does it run on land? Great question. Very, very biased race, now I think about it as well. Ask all the animals in the kingdom for a race. What's the first thing? It's I don't know why I'm turning this into like a comedy skit. The first thing is like a foot race across ground or something. It kind of basically rules out every single creature who lives in the water, you know. That's not very fair. Oh, Jade Emperor of the ancient dynasty. What are you doing? That's not really for all animals then. Also, very biased against all the small animals in it as well, you know. But big animals like dragon, easy shoo-ins to win. The dragon only didn't come first because it ended up like putting out a fire of a village or something. You might be like, the rat, you know, came in first though, so it's doing something right. That's true, actually, you know. Shout out to the rats and snakes, I suppose, who managed to make it to the end despite being very small. I don't even know what a rat did to get past the first like parts of a race. But like, what the heck's a snail gonna do? It's like, oh, you know, we're gonna get a new calendar system. We're gonna determine the best of the best. The 12 best animals are gonna be like go down in history as the actual progenitors of the new calendar system. You get a whole year named after you. You'll, you know, be ever beloved, and people, you know, buy merchandise associated with you, and round like January to February every single year. Oh, great, I'm a snail. This is my perfect opportunity. And you go, oh, what? Sorry, snail. Sorry, it's a speed race, is it? I'm sorry, I guess me as a snail would just have to be like, well, I guess I'll just lose then. Not fair. And the Jade Emperor didn't tell all the animals, didn't wake up the cat for whatever, or whatever. No, I don't know. Is it okay with cheating? I don't really know. I guess the point is, really, that it's not meant to be a fair race in the first place. It's just meant to be a race. Life is not, I suppose, inherently fair. But, you know, you could at least skew the parameters to be a little bit more equal across the board. To begin with. Why make it a speed race in the first place? I've never really thought about this before, but you know, Jade Emperor, I got quite a bone to pick with you about the decision making that went into, well, all of it, I suppose. What the heck are you doing, Jade Emperor? There's so many more facets of which you can base an animal worthy of a calendar on. Like, what facets would I base them off? I don't know. How, like, hardworking they are. How much they want to do it, you know. How suited are they for the job. How representative are they of their own species? Also, only one out of each species. What if you were, like, a much faster, you know, cat, and you're like, you know, if I was the one running at race, I'd be so in there. I really am turning this into, like, some sort of stand-up comedy routine for no reason. A bit niche audience, I would say. Not sure how many people have ever been like, yes, called out Jade Emperor. The great race, more like the great farce. Doesn't even rhyme. I don't know. I'm desperately trying to make it a thing, but you have a snake. Quite an underrated animal, by the way. Like, if you ever stop to think, there's some very strange animals out there. That's a given. Like, you go down to the depths of a Mariana Trench or whatever, you find things like a blobfish, and you'd be like, wow, this is the most normal fish down there. But snake, relatively common animal, and very, very strange, I think, compared to the majority of other animals you see. I guess that's what I mean, because I guess every animal to an alien would be strange, but a snake is especially strange because it's strange in the context of animals as well, you know, not having any limbs to speak of and sort of just wiggles around, and you know what other creatures do that, like eels and worms? How did that even come to be honest? Evolutionary peak was like, oh, you know, these legs are a waste of time. So much better for me to sort of slither around on the ground. It's crazy. I do like snakes though. A friend of mine, they've got some pet snakes. And they're very fun. Fun to observe. They're a great sort of observation pet. Although I do think that about a lot of animals, is that animals I find endlessly fascinating to sort of observe in their own environment. It's a great thing if, you know, friends have pets. You'd be like, wow, I get to observe these, but I don't have to do the legwork of actually looking after the animal properly myself. But no, yes, my friend has snakes, and their snakes are very popular. Like, so much so that some of my other friends like them a lot. I think one of my other friends also wanted to get a snake, to be honest, but I don't know what's coming to pass for that, to be honest. Would I get a pet snake? I think it's certainly plausible. I don't know if it'd be my number one pet, and it's not for any reason of me disliking a snake, to be honest. It's more about I don't really know what my number one pet is. I think it would have to be a pet which would suit the lifestyle I lived at that particular moment, which maybe a snake would, to be honest. I don't see why it wouldn't. But yeah, I don't know, they're pretty cool creatures, and very strange and weird creatures. It's kind of like the point I'm trying to make here. An animal with no limbs whatsoever should very fairly be like, that's a little bit strange, because most of the animals we see have 4 limbs, right? Doesn't, you know, rather whether bipedal or quadrupedal doesn't really matter, I suppose, because those are both like relatively not adjacent to each other, but like on the weirdness scale, they're pretty like even keel, right? But none whatsoever. And the sizes that some snakes get up to, like, it's not some weird small creature. Like, you might be like, oh, tardigrades are the weirdest creature. Okay, yes, but tardigrades are like microscopic, so, you know, it feels like we're just like quantum rules. They're playing with a different specification down there. Snakes can get up to like very, very large sizes if we go up to the anaconda, right? So it's kind of crazy that they even exist in the first place. I'm sure if you're an actual like zoologist, you'd probably be like, oh, you know, snakes you think are weird like on a surface level, but you know, there's some like way weirder animals out there, like the platypus, what is up with that, or something, XYZ, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for zoologists. What I'm just trying to say is, like, I don't think it's appreciated enough how odd the snake is compared to its other compatriots of commonly thought of animals, is what I mean to say. You know, like, I'm not saying the snake is up there with like dogs and cats are commonly thought out animals, but it's probably like on the same level as like goat or something, right? Like, you think of a snake and a goat with equal amounts of ubiquity throughout your life, of course, averaged across all human existence rather than just your own, because maybe you're a snake keeper, or maybe you, I don't know, live on a goat farm. You probably have a very different human experience to the rest of us. We've got to average for the extremes. As someone who does not own snakes and also does not live on a goat farm, I probably think about snakes and goats about an equal sort of quantity. And that's basically what I want to say, is that snakes are such strange, wonderfully strange creatures, I think. and it doesn't get appreciated enough. I will say that every single depiction I see of like the Year of a Snake, though, it's always, they love their super cutesy cartoony depictions of a snake. Either that or they like representing it as like a symbol, but they never have like some really in-depth, like proper realistic looking snake. That's also probably not true, by the way, but it's just, you know, the ones I see of like gifts or something of people being like, whoa, happy Year of a Snake. It's also not an animal I feel like I see very often represented in the, because there's a lot of like Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year sort of merchandise here and there. Like you go to Chinatown in London or something, and then frequently you'll be able to buy whatever the heck you want based around XYZ animal. The only time I really remember doing that is going during the Year of a Rat, which I guess would have been, no, it would have been 4 years ago, it would have been the one 16 years ago or something. I'm buying this like rat charm, I guess. Charm's not the right word, like a door. It's like a fortune charm, I suppose, but it was made out of these beads. It's actually very cool. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I got to get one of these for every single animal each year. Only ever got the rat one. Never got any of the others. I think that would be cool though. Maybe to get some sort of themed things, because jade bracelets I think are very common as well. If it's like your year, or the red jade, to sort of be representative of like good luck or something. I'm not really someone who wears like those jade bracelets because they're like a solid ring. They have no form factor or give to them. They just have that solid shape the entire time, and I find that very inconvenient when I'm like typing on a keyboard or something. But having like a soft charm or something which has like the animals I think represented on them, I think that'd be pretty cool. It's, you know, I probably wouldn't give it much thought, I suppose, until, you know, it actually comes to like Chinese New Year and be like, oh yeah, that would be like a cool thing to get. But yeah, I don't know, if you have a Year of a Snake, as in this year you'll be 12, 24, 36, or any other multiple of 12 going onwards, I hope it's a very prosperous year for you. Although traditionally I think if it is your year, it's actually traditionally meant to be like unlucky or something, so that's why you're meant to have like these charms to sort of ward off a bad luck. But anyway, who cares about that? It's all made up anyway. Could be a good year, could be a bad year. I just hope it's a good year, and I hope that if you celebrate Lunar New Year, or if you know someone who celebrates, you know, I formally invite you to celebrate it in whatever way you see befitting. Whether it means that maybe for dinner you'll go out and get like East Asian food or something, fine by me. Celebrate in your own way. Culture, there's culture to be shared, I think. It just reminds me of that meme of like someone being like, if you are not Chinese, don't celebrate Chinese New Year unless you've been like specifically invited by some person. And then some guy was just like, on the behalf of, you know, as a Chinese person on behalf of China, I formally invite anyone who wants to celebrate Chinese New Year to celebrate it. And I was like, yeah, mood, do that. Because, you know, I think certainly people might just be like, oh, you know, I ate dumplings or something for dinner, you know, to celebrate Chinese New Year. And they might be like, oh, I feel so ashamed, like, I feel so stereotypical. And I'm like, no, heck yeah, I had dumplings too. And I had noodles for lunch. So, yeah, I don't know, lean into it. Enjoy it, wear red. I guess it's a bit late now because it's probably the end of the day, I suppose, for you, depending when you're watching, unless you're watching in like, I don't know what country is the most minus time zone, but still. Anyway, long and short, 新年快乐，恭喜发财, everyone. So, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope we see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.